How's it going, everyone? Wayne the Unknown here, and welcome to another episode of Cosplay Contalk, where we basically discuss everything pertaining to the cosplay community and conventions. I am joined here by Octopus Doll Cosplay and another episode of Get to Know That Cosplayer. How are you doing, Dolly?
I'm good. I woke up. Living life, working on cosplay for Etchy Expo.
I
Yeah.
saw you
You
were
know,
working. I saw you were working on the character for what was it? Polly?
Poppy.
Poppy from
Poppy
Monster.
from Monster Masume. Yeah.
Okay. And for anyone who's wondering, I will be writing down the names of the cosplays we talk about. So Poppy. Okay. So basically this episode, we'll be talking about what got you into cosplay, how long you've been doing for, the characters you've done, advice, stuff you've done, all that fun stuff. So to begin, how long have you been cosplaying for and what got you into it?
Well, I'm 26 now and I've been doing this since I was about 10 years old.
Oh, so you've been doing this, so you're in the category of cosplay veteran. This been
Yes.
cosplaying for more than do math, what,
16 years?
16 years? Wow. So
Yeah.
yeah, you're definitely in that category of cosplay veteran. So you've definitely seen the change.
Yes. I mean it's not a bad change. It's just an interesting change I've seen in the community.
Yeah,
But
so
I like it. I like how there's more people in the community now. You get to make more friends.
so you've been cosplaying since 2006, just like before anime cosplaying in the States became very mainstream. It was still kind of, you know, your general old weebs and everything cosplaying characters from like the 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah, my go-to was Inuyasha and like characters from Mario. My first cosplay I ever went to a convention in was Wario.
Wah!
Yes.
Wait, no,
I'm
that's Waluigi. Never mind.
close enough. But yeah, my first cosplay I ever wore to a convention was Wario, but my first cosplay that I ever wore was Inuyasha. And this was actually before I knew what cosplay was, but I really wanted to be Inuyasha for Halloween. And my mom's like, nobody's gonna know what you are. And damn, was she right.
Well, I mean,
But
not.
that's before like anime was popular and people knew
Oh
what it
yeah,
was.
no. Anime became more popular like early 2000s, mid 2000s, you know.
Yeah.
So I
Well,
can do
oh, I'm sorry.
Go
Yes.
ahead, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's interesting how mainstream anime is now because back when I was really into it, it was like a secret you had to keep. You couldn't let people know you liked anime or you got
No.
bullied for it.
No, yeah. Oh yeah, you get made fun of saying you're weird, awkward. Yeah, no, I'm fully like I said, I'm almost 30 and I've been into anime since the 90s, so I get it.
Yeah, and it's just crazy because now I can go to Walmart and see all these anime t-shirts and I'm like the kids today have it so easy.
Oh
Back
yeah, no
in
man.
my back in my day, I had to order stuff off a catalog.
Oh yeah, no. It's
Right
easy. It's
stuff.
easy. It's easy nowadays. Nowadays, you can go into a Hot Topic and get stuff for even you can even get stuff at Hot Topic and Spencer's for your cosplays nowadays.
Yes, it's crazy. I had to order my Inuyasha t-shirts and my anime t-shirts off of Right Stuff catalog. And if you know what that is, then you're an OG.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, that's how I got my merchandise back in the day. And kids today they have it so easy.
Oh no, they I wholeheartedly agree. So what was your very first convention all those years ago?
I'm gonna get flack for this. Anime Matsuri. So for people in Texas, Anime Matsuri is a convention that's boycotted due to some.
I've heard the stories. It's not it's a love con, but it's also a hated con over there.
Yeah, it's. Uh, I think I went to it this year, and I think this was gonna. This is my last year for it. But yeah, Anime Matsuri was my very first convention, and this was before it was even in the George R. Brown Convention Center in Houston. It was like in a hotel by the Woodlands Mall. I know you don't really know these locations, but for my Texas people, they know what I'm talking about. But I went to it back before it was even in a convention center.
So would they be would Anime Matsuri, would they be affiliated with Holiday Matsuri?
No, I don't believe they are.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, I don't know. I don't think so. I've
Okay.
never been to Holiday Matsuri, so I'm not too familiar with that.
I've heard good things about that, but I've heard mixed things about anime. And we're not bashing the con. I'm sure those who know
Yeah.
know. If not, you know. What was it like back then? Going to a con back in like the mid 2000s.
I mean, when you went to the con itself, I mean, there were a lot of people, not like an insane amount like you go to a convention now and see,
There's like
but
thousands of people back then. It was like a few couple hundred or so.
yeah, but it was, I mean, it was still so fascinating to see, like, I'm not the only one. I'm not the only nerd in Houston, you know? It was very exciting. I think I was about 13, 13 or 14 when I went to my first convention. And like I said, I dressed up as Wario. My friend was Waluigi, and we
Nice.
had these little crappy cosplays we made. We took white hats and colored them with Sharpie.
It works, especially if you don't have like the dye and everything.
Yeah, well, we didn't know anything about making cosplays. We didn't know anything. So we're like, we'll get some hats and we'll color them with a Sharpie. And I still
I imagine you and your friend went through a lot of yellow and purple Sharpies.
Yeah, I think it took about three. Because we didn't color the inside, we just colored the outside. But I still have that hat. I
Oh,
still have that Wario.
nice. Very nice. Yeah, I know people also would do like I saw years ago on this show called Here's a Cosplay. A gal was using Sharpie to dye her Merida wig from Brave.
I have a friend that's doing the Sharpie dyeing technique this weekend for a wig, and I'm like, oh, you're going old
Oof.
school.
Yeah, this video won't be out till February, so I'm sure by then the cosplays
Yeah.
that the current cosplay you're working on will be done and will be shown by then. So let's see. So, real quick, advice for those who are wanting to go to their first con, whether it be a big con or small con, whether they go alone or with a friend.
I always recommend trying to go with a friend just because sometimes it is a little awkward to be there by yourself, especially if you're introverted. I remember going to a con by myself and not knowing anybody, but luckily I forced myself to be extroverted and, talk to people. But I really do recommend going with a friend. If you don't have anyone to go with and you really want to go, just stay safe. Know where like volunteers and staff are in case something happens. You can go and speak with them, say, "Hey, I got this issue, that issue," because it's unfortunate to say this, but cons can be actually pretty dangerous.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, especially if you're a
depend
female, especially if you're a female cosplayer.
Yes, and depending on what you're cosplaying, some people don't always understand that you're a human being under the cosplay, which is
As I
it's very
always say, cosplay does not equal consent, and it's
yeah.
also, as always say it, you know, if you don't want to go alone, bring a quote unquote, to quote Crush from Finding Nemo, bring a convention exit buddy.
Yes. Uh, and another thing is, even if you have a friend that's not really into anime and stuff, just ask them to go with you. Be like, hey, can you go with me to this event? Even if it's just for a day, you might end up having fun, and then you could potentially convert someone into liking anime. I've done that.
Just
I took
don't force them. Just let them see if they like it themselves.
Yes, and then as you go to more conventions, you'll make convention friends. That way, if you don't have someone locally you can go with to the con and you have a convention friend who's going, you can meet up with them and then you can buddy with them. And I met a lot of my convention friends through like similar fandoms. So Another thing I'm probably gonna get hate for, but I was really into Homestuck. And
I've heard
so
I've heard a lot of Homestuck stories on here.
yes. So I was really into Homestuck and I met some of my best friends through Homestuck. And that's how I got my convention buddies and that sort of thing. So I knew whatever convention I went to, if I saw a group of Homestucks, just go hang out with, people of my similar tastes and I'll
So
be okay.
so you've cosplayed as someone from Homestuck, I take it.
Yes. My
Nice.
go-to character was Vriska. I actually want to bring the cosplay back because she is a fan favorite. Because I was known as the Vriska in Houston because I went to every single convention as Vriska. So I kind of want to bring it back just for old time's sakes
There's
because I
nothing
know
wrong with
people want
that.
to see it.
So um what's the biggest convention you've ever gone to before, aside from Anime Matsuri? Because I know that's a pretty big con.
Uh, Let me see. I want to say San Japan, which is in San Antonio, Texas.
Ooh,
That one's in the Henry B. Gonzalez Convention Center, and it's right on the Riverwalk. So great place for photo opportunities, and it's gorgeous. Oh, I've also Comic Palooza too, which is also here in Houston.
I think
That
I've heard
one
of
is,
that one.
I say that one's not really big so much for like anime. Well, obviously, it's called Comic Palooza, but that one's big because they get celebrities, like actual, not just voice actors. They one year I met Ron Perlman.
Nice.
They had Stan Lee one year. So it that one's bigger more in the commercialized sense, I guess is the way to put it.
Like kind of like how recently, well, this month in December there was Anime Frontier.
Yes.
Did you go to that one as
And
well?
no, I'm trying to get everything finished for Etchy Expo, which is this weekend for me.
Oh,
So
that's right. It's what
I knew
the ninth or something? Or when is it?
yes, it's this Friday. So
Nice. Well,
yeah.
I'm, you know, by then when this comes out, hopefully you enjoyed the con.
Yes, I plan on it. I signed up for all their little events. I'm going to be competing in the cosplay contest and some of their other
Mhm.
contests they have
For
going on that
those
are,
for those who want to know more about EdgyCon, feel free to look him up, and we're not going to go too much into detail because
yeah,
long story short, it's an 18 and it's literally an 18 and older event
yes.
for people who love going to conventions, which, I have to say, you don't really see a whole lot of 18 and over conventions. Usually they'll like have like an 18 and over event at a family friendly con, but that's like till like later in the day.
I think this is the first 18 plus convention I've ever seen that's like anime related. I I I don't know of any other.
I
Then
know.
again, I stay in Texas, so
I also what there was recently there was also Waifu Expo in Texas.
yes, I heard of that. I think that was a smaller one, so I'm not too familiar with it, but I saw a post about it floating around somewhere.
I've interviewed cosplayers from Texas, and they're always been telling me how there's always these these anime comic book conventions. I mean, also you got in Dallas, you got Rooster Teeth Expo as well.
Mm, I'm not familiar with that one.
It's more of a gaming.
Is it
conven-
is it Rooster Teeth a YouTuber or they were?
Rooster Teeth, yeah, they're like a gaming nerd channel that has shows and everything.
Okay, because I remember there was like a guy on there that would rage quit, and so that he would be like rage quitting Happy Wheels or whatever it's called. Oh God, that takes me back to middle school.
Oh God. So kind of get into before we talk about your cosplays, we'll talk about your cosplay, make it experience the cosplays, so for cosplayers on a budget or someone who wants to get into cosplay, would you recommend thrifting for their first few
Yeah,
cosplays?
yeah. So I'm known for my ability to make really big cosplays on a very small budget because I use a lot of unconventional items. I know when people tell you to make something, they're like, "Oh, you got to get this special type of EVA foam. You got to get Warbler," and I'm like, "Nah, you can get a yoga mat, a $5 yoga mat, and it's made
It's
of the
it's
same
it's it's a
material."
it's a cheap it's a cheap it's a cheap way to go, especially like you said, if you're on a budget. I also heard about this one other what was it, an interview I did a while back. They were talking about how this other version of EVA foam that's like stronger and more movable. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, I actually use a craft foam that is basically EVA foam that you can find in Michael's. So if you go to the children's section and you go through like the children's craft, they have this enormous roll of craft foam. It's 2 millimeter craft foam and it's $8. And it is about 3 times the amount of foam compared to like the 2 millimeter rolls they have for EVA foam at Michael's, and it works great.
Nice.
I'm making pretty much my entire Poppy cosplay out of that, and
Nice. It's
it's affordable.
now I speaking of Poppy, well we will go more into that. So let's see here. So we talked about that. We talked about the convention thing. I've done so many of these, I always forget what to ask half the time.
Yeah.
I guess we'll talk about before we talk about some of the cosplays. Well, we will talk about one of the cosplays right now. What's been your biggest cosplay build?
Uh, Hold on, I need to take a second to think. Because I've done so much wacky stuff. So my biggest cosplay build would probably be Pinhead from Hellraiser. I did a version of Pinhead that's based off an anime figurine
I have I
called
have I have seen those. They do like they're basically based off of horror icons. I saw a Chucky one,
yes,
I
the
saw a
horror beast Jojo.
yeah, I've seen a bunch of those at a con back in 2019.
Yes, so I did Pinhead recently. I actually did this about a month ago. I'd say that's my biggest cosplay build because it required me to utilize a lot of skills I didn't know. I had to learn a ton of new stuff for it. I made my own headpiece for it, so I didn't have to do a bald cap and glue pins into my bald cap. I actually made a cowl, so it was a removable piece for the top of the head covered in all these little pins.
Nice.
And this will go back to the budgeting. Those pins were made out of coffee stirrers instead of having to sculpt stuff with,
Hey,
you know,
that's pretty clever in all honesty.
yeah, like I said, I know how to use a lot of unconventional items to make some weird stuff. I say that's my biggest cosplay build. It took me about 3 months, which is honestly the longest I've ever spent on working on a cosplay.
That's
But
pretty big.
yeah, but my biggest cosplay I've ever done, like physically big, is Mia from Monster Masume. It
Now,
was a
is she the one with the pink snake tail?
yes.
Yeah, I was just about to, I was just about to ask about that. It's what you'll see.
Yes.
It's what people will see on your thumbnail. I gotta ask. Was that thing easy to walk in?
No. I can walk in it. It's just not easy to walk in because it is a 22-foot long snake tail. It is the canon length of the character's tail
Oh,
because
excuse my
I
language.
just decided to go.
Holy fuck.
Yes. And uh the first time I wore her, it was great. Like I had a great time in her and she wasn't that difficult to wear. I don't know if since then I've lost muscle mass or something or I'm just weak now, but I could not handle walking around with her. It was too much. It might have been a combination of the heat and stuff.
Jeez, and you must have had a strong bladder if you didn't have to go to the bathroom in that thing.
she's actually easy to remove because it's like a pencil skirt with shorts hooked into
Oh,
it. So you just pull it down.
nice.
But
Where did you go about acquiring that long tail?
I made it.
You made that? Oh,
Yes.
what?
Yes.
It looks like something
It's
you would like have you would like buy on like an anime cosplay website.
No, I made that. It's one continuous piece of fabric. So if you need to buy a lot of fabric in bulk, you can go to
Holy jeez.
wholesale.com. It's a lot, you can get a ton of fabric super cheap. So if I were to have purchased fabric from, let's say, like Hobby Lobby or Joann's or some other fabric store, it would have been about double or triple the price per yard. For that, I think it was only $1.50 per yard. So, well, I got
Jeez.
like 8 yards.
How long did that tail make how long did that tail make to make? God damn, that's a
Uh,
tongue twister.
ah, it's hard to say because I was working on 4 other cosplays at the time, trying to get them all done for the same convention.
Jeez. What convention was
But
that
it's
for?
Anime Matsuri 2021, so last year. But I'd say maybe she took about 2 weeks. It was just back when I was making her, I did not have a proper studio to work in. Now I'm like, I have a studio.
Which you're in right
So,
now?
yes, because I got a 2 bedroom apartment just to use the second bedroom as a studio.
I totally understand utilizing another room. I mean, I live in a one bedroom, but I utilize the quote unquote dining room as my recording studio. So I completely get it.
Yeah, so back when I was making her, I still lived at home and like at home with parents, and
Have your mom
my
like, why
my
are you in your room so long?
yes,
You just see a pink thing just sticking out the door.
yes, that was literally what was going on. And my crafting area was a 3 foot by 4 foot table
Oh
that
geez.
barely held my sewing machine on
Oh
it.
good God. It's
So yeah, and those scales on that tail, that's not printed fabric. I hand painted all those
you.
scales.
Ooh.
Yeah, what's funny is when I wore it at Anime Monster, I actually got interviewed and was on the news.
Tail is 22 feet long, which is the actual length of the character's tail. Everything is hand sewn, and then all these scales are individually painted on.
That is Miia from Monster Masume, of course.
Of course.
Yep. Took her 90 hours to complete this costume, and by the way, by day, she's a dental hygienist.
Oh, she might want to have those teeth looked at. Okay.
Wearing that
Nice.
thing.
Do you
Yes.
have the do you have a clip of that so I can share it on here?
Yes, it's actually on my YouTube. I guess after the podcast, I can send you that
Okay, sweet.
that link.
I'll be sure to for those who are watching, I'll be sure to I guess it's a question I don't ask a whole lot of, but when you do big build cosplays, is it easy? And then this is not meant to sound like wrong or anyway. When you do big bulky cosplays, is it ever easy to go to the bathroom in them?
No. I'm gonna be honest there. I used to go through a phase of wearing a lot of bodysuit cosplays that were fully connected with no like pee
Like
slit or anything.
your Bowser.
Yes, so that Bowser uh is big and bulky because it's got a whole shell hooked onto the bodysuit. So that was you wear that and you hold your bladder until the last possible second, and then you're getting out of the whole thing and you do not want to get back into it.
Oh no, I have to commend cosplayers who can somehow miraculously not go to the bathroom for the entire con. Like, kudos to you if you don't have to go to the bathroom, especially if you're in a big freaking bulky cosplay. I mean,
Yeah, I know nowadays people are getting a lot more innovative
innovative,
or
innovative.
innovative. There we
Yeah,
go.
no,
Innovative with it.
I've seen like the skin suits where you can get it customized to have like the zipper crotch.
Yes, my friend who cosplays Maui from Moana, he has a whole tattoo suit and he
Hmm.
has it with a little like pea slit so
Yeah,
he can
crotch. You can say crotch zipper. Right? That's a word.
crotch.
Well, literally, if you go onto Etsy and you order like a Spider-Man suit, you can have it, or any other website. If you order like a Spider-Man suit, for example, you can literally add the crotch zipper. You can even add the wrist zippers, so you can like
Yes.
take your hands out if you want to eat, wash your hands, whatever.
So
So I'm like,
I did that with Bowser. I made it so I could take the hand parts off, so it's
nice,
hidden by the bracelets, so I can unhook the hand, text, eat, do whatever I gotta do, and then I
nice,
just pop them back on. I've learned how to
nice.
do that. Same
I
with
s-
my pinhead. My pinhead had hand gloves
the
that
arm
were hidden.
socks,
Yeah, so I could take them off,
nice,
eat,
very
put them back
nice.
on.
No, there's this thing I've seen online. It's these weird stickers you can put in your gloves so you can like text and everything with them.
Yes, I've seen that. I've also seen people do the exact same thing by putting a dot of hot glue on the
Hmm.
tip of their glove, and it works the same.
Or some people will like lick their glove and then just,
Yeah. I've also learned that using the knuckle to text with works too.
Also,
Like
if you have a phone that has, if you're wearing gloves and you don't always having one of these for your phone is,
stylus.
yeah.
Okay.
If you don't if you have a phone that has that, I mean, I don't use mine all the time, but it comes in handy.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh I don't know if my phone would work with that because my phone doesn't even want to work with my hands. So
oof. So speaking of the characters on your thumbnail, I gotta ask, what made you want to cosplay Mr. Garrison? And a second question to that, did you make Mr. Hand by yourself?
Ye- Okay, so yes, I made Mr. Hand, and the reason why I wanted to cosplay Mr. Garrison was there was a convention in Houston. It was a really small one, and I just wanted to go to it for a day to hang out, see what was happening. And the day it was happening was the exact same day as the 25th anniversary of South Park. And I was
Sweet.
like, I gotta represent because I grew up watching South Park. It's one of my favorite shows. I go to bed listening to it. So
Nice.
I was like, I could make, like a Kyle or a Carton. No, I'm like, nah, nope,
I don't
everyone
think I
cosplays
don't
them.
think I've seen people cosplay the main characters. I've seen people cosplay Randy Marsh, but I don't think I've ever seen someone
I miss
cosplay as Mr. Garrison, not Mrs. Garrison.
Yes, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. Plus, I love doing bald characters. I've done Aang from Avatar. I've done Saitama, One Punch Man. So I was like, I want to do Mr. Garrison because it's male pattern baldness, and I was just like, I want to do something different, you know? I want to be a jack of all trades.
How did you go about making the bald? Because I know people usually will do that technique when they cosplay as Iroh from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
So I actually just bought a wig. I
And
just bought a male pattern baldness wig. They sell them
I
on
mean,
Amazon. If you look up male pattern baldness wig,
okay,
they'll pop up.
I'm looking at it now. I see the slit thing above your 4K.
Yeah, so I actually just took makeup and blended it into my skin a bit more so it matched my skin tone because I think it was just a little bit
On the bright side.
darker. Yeah, and
Gotcha.
I'm pale. I'm very pale, so I needed a one that was a little more pale. So I just ended up using makeup to make it look like me, I guess.
Nice. So I gotta ask as well. Um, so when you cosplay male characters, do you do the whole chest binder thing or the fake rubber male chest thing?
So I use a binder, and my friends that bind often make fun of my binder because it's not a good one. It is actually one of the ones you're not really supposed to wear because it's dangerous. If you wear it for too long, you could actually break a rib in it. So yeah, for my friends listening to this, yeah, I still have that thing. I'm sorry.
What advice would you want to give to someone who wants to wear a binder for a cosplay, especially if they're going to be cosplaying a male character and they don't want to show off, have their actual chest be shown?
So I recommend consulting with any friends you have that are a part of the LGBT community, because that's what I did. I asked them, well, I do have this crappy binder. How would I go about wearing this without hurting myself until I get a appropriate binder? And they told me how to properly wear it, not to cinch it tight and that sort of thing. And they gave me advice on where to purchase good ones that are affordable. So if you have any friends in the LGBT community, I just suggest asking them what they use, because they'll send you in the right direction, because some of these people bind every single day because that's what they choose to do. So
And there's nothing,
just
and there's nothing wrong with that.
yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Almost all my friends are in the LGBT community, so I get a lot of good
Nice.
advice from them.
And we are LGBT friendly on this channel, by the way. Everything's inclusive, everything's, inclusive. We're, no hate.
Oh, it better be. I don't want to be talking to a bigot.
No, I know. I'm no everything. No, everything on this channel is inclusive. No hate. It's just you got to be 18 and older to be a guest on this channel.
Yes.
So now I want to talk about some of your cosplays. What's one cosplay you've not done in so long that you would love to bring back?
I actually have quite a few.
I guess
But
I guess your top two.
So I want to bring back Ashi from Samurai Jack season 5.
Is she
If
the
I
one?
got
Is she the one that wears all the black with the white mask?
Yes, and then she wears the leaf dress. So I have both versions of that outfit, and I just really want to redo them because I made those things back when I didn't know what I was doing. And so now that I know what I'm doing, I think I could do a better job with her.
Isn't she like
Plus,
Aku's daughter?
yes.
Okay, like when you said
And it's
Ashi, and like, okay, I know who you're talking.
yeah, and she's like, there's a whole cult and stuff. Oh, the last season of Samurai Jack is amazing.
I haven't.
You don't even have Yeah, you don't have to watch the whole show, just watch the last season. It incorporates everything you need to know.
Nice. So you done both versions of Ashi. What's the second one you would like to bring back?
I really want to redo Knee Socks from Panty and Stocking, the red demon girl with the one horn coming out of the forehead. Because again, I did that at a time I didn't know what I was doing. So now that I know what I'm doing, I could pull that off really well, I feel like.
I'm looking them up right now. Oh, I've seen people cosplay these characters before.
Yes, the demon sisters. I really want to redo the one with the one horn. Just because I did that back at a time when I didn't know what I was doing. And I look back at those pictures and I look horrible.
Who's that red little Gerd dog suit knockoff?
That is their pet Fastener, and it turns into a giant bat creature in the last episode. It unzips itself and turns into a bat. And then there's another one that literally looks like Gur that's green, and it unzips itself and turns into a giant dog. So it's a weird anime for sure.
I've heard. I've seen clips and everything. So what's that one cosplay? It was a one and done. Like you did it because a friend asked you to, or you did it because you were curious, or it's just kind of like you did it once, but you just never done it again since.
I honestly have a few, and I don't want to call them one and dones because I know one day I'd like to bring them back maybe, but possibly Bowser. If I bring back Bowser, it's going to be a different costume or cosplay of Bowser. I'd probably reuse the accessories, but the whole suit, I don't know, that thing's probably getting retired.
You would probably make it to where it's like accessible in that sense to go to the bathroom and everything.
Yeah, and I probably would just not do a full body suit, maybe just arm socks and then some sort of body paint and then stockings instead of a full body suit. And that Bowser is actually my original design. So
nice.
I'd like it to look a little bit more like my reference image that I made, but again, I don't know. It's just it's a hard question to answer because I don't want to say for sure, oh, I'm never doing this again. I'm never doing that again. I just because
Makes
I've said that in the past about cosplays and then I end up bringing them back. So
Now, one question I always forget to ask because I realize I haven't asked it a whole lot. What's been your top favorite cosplay? Your character to cosplay?
that's honestly, I really like doing Mr. Garrison. Like it was so silly, but it was so iconic. And it's just this I bought the whole thing. The only thing I made was Mr. Hat, but the reactions I got to that cosplay was great. Like
So I want to ask about your Mr. Hat prop. How did you go about making him to make him look nearly screen accurate to, the actual Mr. Hat from South Park?
I just used a bunch of scrap felt and looked at a reference image and then just cut and hot glued. Nothing on that is sewn. It's literally just all hot glue.
That's do
It
you
took
still
me like an hour.
do you still have the Mr. Hat puppet?
Yeah, he is actually right
Oh
here.
my God, he does look. Oh, that is really well done.
Yeah.
I've never seen a Mr. Hat like I know you can like buy him online, but the fact that you made that and it's all glued together and it's held up really well, I
Yeah.
love it.
You go to hell. You go to hell and you die. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, the hat has stuffing in it, but the rest
That
of them,
is
it's hollow, so
that's
I can
pretty
stick my hand
cool.
in there.
Speaking of making things, have you ever commissioned stuff for people?
No, because I've been asked to make stuff for people, and I'm always so busy with my own projects.
Mm-hmm.
I just I don't want to take on any projects for anyone else. Plus, I'm scared of them being like, "Well, this was a piece of shit. I want my money back," you know. So
I totally get it.
I just tend to avoid that.
There's,
It's
there's
just
nothing there's nothing wrong with that.
yeah.
So have you ever had any con crunch cosplays? Cosplays that you basically were just getting done like a day or two before the con.
Oh my God. Almost everything I make is a con crunch.
I mean,
Uh,
for example,
like I'm wor-
Poppy's gonna be definitely. It sounds like I saw some on your Instagram story that you got the feet done.
Yes. Oh, they look so. I'm so excited for those. But I'm working on the wings. I actually have the feathers out on my patio, like drying from spray paint. After this, I'm gonna
Oh, right,
turn them
because
around
she
and
has like
spray the
she
other
has like
side.
what, sky blue wings,
Yes. And so the legs are 100% done. The wig's 100% done. It's just those wings.
which you were working on. If you don't mind, if you could show real quick, if that's okay. The
The
wig.
feet or
No,
the
the wig.
oh oh this wig is actually for another cosplay. I'm doing Anka from Animal Crossing. So I'm just
Oh,
cutting this into a bob.
nice.
Yes,
Nice.
because Etchy Expo is 18 plus, so I'm doing a more saucy version of
Risque.
Anka. Yes. I gotta represent, you
Oh,
know.
trust me, I've seen the TikToks where she has her arms crossed and she's moving her hips back and
Yes,
forward.
yes.
I'm sure you're
So
probably gonna get asked to do that at EtchyCon.
yes, hopefully people are polite about it. I don't mind doing it. It's just when people command me to do things in cosplay.
Yeah, no. That yeah,
I've
like I said, cosplay is not consent.
I've had some unsavory interactions in cosplay, and yeah.
Mind giving your 2 cents about the whole cosplay is not consent thing?
Uh, Literally those words. Cosplay isn't consent. People are not your waifus. People are not your husbandos, however you say it. We are human beings. Even though we're wearing a cosplay of your favorite character, your fictional love interest, I'm still a human being. I
I
still have
mean,
an 8 hour work day to go back to after this convention. This is my escape. I don't need you ruining my escape.
I mean,
You know?
you were going to cons around the times of the glom circles and yaoi paddles.
Yes. Yes, I remember glomping. For God, oh my God, that takes me back. For those who don't know what glomping is, because I think the newer,
People got hurt really bad.
yeah, I don't think the newer generation really knows what glomping is. That's when you literally ran at someone and tackled them to the ground.
No, the new
Like,
generation is in no hate. I'm sure you're familiar with the holding up the sign saying, "If you pay me $5 or $10, I will slap you, spit on you, whatever."
yeah, I'm okay with that because there's still a level of consent there, you
But still,
know?
at the same time,
It's cringy,
it can be
but
dangerous too. At the same time,
yeah, it is dangerous, but at least there is a level of consent with that. If you're going up to a person and paying them $5 to slap you and then you get slapped, you can't complain about getting slapped, you know?
true.
It's you literally consented to with money and told them slap me and they slapped you.
Hmm.
So
But still,
that's how
but still, they can find a way to say, "Oh no, I didn't do that."
yeah, so
Since that cosplayer has no proof of that they
yeah. Yeah, and yeah, that's a whole nother can of worms. But with glomping, there was no consent. Like there was a whole thing called like Glomp Kakashi from Naruto. It was a whole thing on the internet where
I have
people
never
would
heard
just
of that.
yes, it was a whole thing where people would just straight up attack Kakashi cosplayers. And they would tackle Kakashi to the ground, and it was called Glomp Kakashi. It
That
was
sounds
horrible.
dangerous.
Yeah, so yeah, and like I said, I've had my own unsavory interactions with not cosplayers, just people at conventions. I actually had one recently, back in August, where I was Mia from Monster Masume, so 22-foot long snake tail.
Oh, okay, I
So I
imagine people were
already,
stepping on that thing.
well, not even that. It's I can't run away if I'm in a position where I feel uncomfortable. So I, was going around the con. My friends were busy, so I was kind of by myself, which is, whatever. It's fine. But I'm walking around with my snake tail and I go to sit down, and this guy, he asked me for a picture. That's fine. If he asks for a
Ask
picture,
him for pictures. Okay.
yeah, so I take a picture with him and I even wrap him up in the snake tail. I'm like, do you want to be like coiled in the snake? Like I'm all for it. If you want I'll as long as you ask or if I proposition it, like, hey, I can, put you in a headlock since that's what the character does. If you want a more canon picture, just let me know. Like, how do you want me posed? And that was great. He took his picture, he walked off. So I sit back down. He comes behind me in the chair and oh, sorry, hold on, my cat is banging on the door.
You're fine.
I,
Pets are welcome to make an appearance on this show.
yeah, sorry, that's my cat Frankie. He's named after Frankie from One Piece.
Ooh,
Come here, boy. You want to?
yeah. Let's have him make an appearance. Oh, he's so adorable.
He's my
Oh,
baby, but
he almost looks like my mom's. He almost looks like my mom's cat, Kitty Boy. Oh, he's
he's
so
a good boy.
precious. Oh, hi,
Yeah.
Frankie.
Hi. All right.
Oh,
Okay, go lay down in
bye,
the
Frankie.
fabric. So back to my story. So this guy comes around me in the chair I was sitting in, and he grabs the end of the snake tail. And so for those who've seen Monster Masume, you know what happens when you grab the end of her snake tail. The
I
character moans. And
Oh
so
God.
he
So
grabs the end of
he must have seen the show then.
yes, he was very familiar with the character. He's like, "Oh my God, I love this character." I'm like, "Oh, cool," because I like it when people get excited to
Oh
see
God,
me
where's the
as
red
their
flag?
character.
Where's a red flag when you need one?
Yeah, but the fact that he comes around me and grabs the end of the tail, I look over and I don't even register what he's trying to do. I just go, "Oh, hi again. Like, how are you doing? Like, do you need something? Did you forget something?" And he grabs the tail and he's like, "That's not the sound she's supposed to make." And I was just like, "Excuse me?" And he's like, "Make the sound." I was like, "I'm not gonna make those sounds in public." And he just laughs and he walks off. That's not where the story ends. So I'm going around as
So
Mia.
this is your cosplay horror story, basically.
I have many, but this was the most recent.
Oh, okay. So this would count as a question of asking your convention horror story.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I just kind of went in this
Oh
without,
no, you're fine. Sometimes it helps when they go continue the
yeah.
story because this counts as your cosplay horror story.
Okay, because this story is insane. So I'm walking around as Mia, walking as best as I can, air quotes.
More like waddling.
Yes, waddle with this big snake tail. And so I get a lot of pictures as Mia because it's a big giant snake girl. Like, who doesn't want to get a picture of
I
that?
mean,
So every time he saw me, he would take a picture of me. And so it
without
got
your
to
consent.
no, yeah, no consent. He would just take a
Oh,
picture.
cosplay does not
And
consent.
yes, so he would continue to follow me around the convention. This went on for several hours. And so then I was in the cosplay contest as Mia. So then I finally got escape from him. I went to the cosplay contest, did my thing. And then after I was off stage, I was told you need to take off the snake tail because we don't have room for you to watch the rest of the cosplay contest since you're enormous. So please go take off the snake tail. You can put it in our security booth where it's safe, just for safety. It's a
Fair
fire
enough.
hazard. If there was a fire, people can't
It's also
escape.
it's
You
also
can't escape.
it's also a trip hazard too.
Yeah, so I was perfectly fine with that. I was like, because I'm tired. I'll take this thing off. There's a little skirt that goes over the tail, so I'm like, I'll just wear the skirt and I'll be fine. So I take off the snake tail, I put it in the security booth, and then I go to watch my friend's performance. And my friend did a skit, and she ended up having an asthma attack on stage.
Oh no.
And so, like watching her, she did a very good job of playing it off where people couldn't notice, but I noticed. And I was like, something is wrong with her. So I ran back to where you like exit from the stage. And it was like outside. I don't know how to describe it. Like you exit
I
off
know
the stage,
I know what
yeah,
you're
into a
talking.
hallway.
Yeah, I know exactly what
Yeah.
you're talking about.
Yeah, so you exit off the stage into a back hallway, and then you walk around back to the front of the room or front of the convention to go
Yeah,
back into the
yeah,
convention contest, cosplay
the much
contest.
bigger cons, the more indoor cons have. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, so I run back this back hallway. Guess who was there?
Creeper
It was that
McCreepyton.
creepy McCreepy Tim. And he's like, "Oh, you're the Mia cosplayer." And I'm like, "I'm not even in this tail anymore, dude. Like, leave me
I
alone."
hope
I
you
didn't
told
say
security, but
anything.
I hope you told security about this.
I did. So
Okay,
he
good.
followed me, and as I get my friend, I have to sit her down. She's wounded because she ended up scraping her knee. And so
Ah,
since I'm trained in first aid, I'm trying to uh, get her calm, find an emergency inhaler for her, make sure she's hydrated, make sure her wounds are tended to, get her shoes off her to like alleviate her feet. And so I'm doing all this. He's just standing there watching me, like waiting for me to acknowledge him. And he sees I'm not acknowledging him. So he goes back to like the front of the hallway and just waits there. And so my friend's boyfriend comes out. He's tending to her now. So I go to run off to find an emergency inhaler at first aid. I'm running off to go get that. He follows me again. And I'm like, you can literally see someone's having an emergency medical situation. I'm trying to tend to that emergency medical situation. It, and you want to get laid? Like, I don't, what is
what
happening?
the hell?
And so he continued to follow me, would just straight up follow me
Like a lost puppy?
until I disappeared behind a security curtain to get the inhaler. Then we got my friend back there behind the security curtain so people weren't staring at her because they're like, "Oh, what's this chick doing laying in the hallway like almost dying?" Like it's guys,
Yes, none of their
don't do
business.
that.
None of
It's
their
none of your
business.
business. So we get her back there, we tend to her, and then I tell security, like I'm relaying the story to her how I
Mm.
was being stalked, and then the security was right there, and they're like, "Wait, hold up, what was happening?" So I tell them all this information. This is not where it ends, because while this is the end of the saga for Creepy McCreeperton at this convention, I encounter him again at another event.
What
And
the?
he follows
Okay, I'm
me
gonna have to bleep this out. I'm
again.
gonna have to bleep this one out. But what the?
Yes. So I went Halloween weekend, I went to a little horror event and I was dressed as Pinhead. So it was like a little horror outdoor convention. I was Pinhead, my awesome, sexy lady Pinhead. I was digging it. I met the voice, not the voice actor, the actor of for Pinhead, not Doug,
Nice.
not Doug Bradley,
Oh,
unfortunately. I met
you met the one that took over after him after
Paul
the.
Paul T. Taylor. What a sweetheart. He's the nicest man ever. So I'm feeling great. I'm in my awesome Pinhead. Uh, this guy in a Jason outfit walks up and he removes the mask, and my heart sank because it was Creepy McCreeperton
Oh
again.
God, Jesus.
And so he comes up and he's like, "Oh, I like your Pinhead," and I'm like, "Thanks." And he's like, "Me and a bunch of other like iconic horror characters, like Michael Myers, Chucky, all us cosplayers are going to do a big photo shoot later over there if you wanna join since you're the only Pinhead." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." And I'm like, "Okay, that was a relatively normal interaction." So I thought that was the end of it. No, he follows me. He follows me again, like trying to integrate himself into my group of friends, just following us around.
Oh, good God.
And it took me just literally every time he tried to get my eye line, I'd do a 180 and put the back of my head to him, like, don't look me in the eye, don't look me in the face. He eventually disappeared. And one of my guy friends that was with me was like, I was about to beat the shit out of that guy. He's like, why did that guy look familiar? And I'm like, that's the stalker from when I was Miia. And he's like, oh my God.
Jeez, take
So
a hint, pal.
so luckily I have not encountered Creepy McCreeperton again, but it was one of the very first times I felt unsafe by an individual at a convention because I've been sexually harassed at cons before, and since I'm pretty quick wit and really don't give a shit, I managed to deflect it really easily. Like I get hit on, I say something like inappropriate back to them and they're like, "Oh, okay, bye." But this is the first time I felt where I was actually in danger.
So, I mean,
So
you did the right thing by telling security and everything, because that's a big no-no. I don't care for those who are watching. Stalking a cosplayer just because they're cosplaying your favorite character is not okay. I don't care if you think, well, it's like, no, don't do that shit.
yeah, and it's just like at the end of the day, you're not getting my number. I don't care about you. I don't know your name. I don't give a shit about you. Like I don't mean that as a negative thing, but at the end of the day, I go home. I got bills to pay. I'm not gonna think about the one guy that was like, I love your Miia so much. You're so gorgeous. Dude, I don't give a shit about you. Thank you for the compliment, but at the end of the day,
Yeah.
I'm not fantasizing about you. Like, leave me alone.
Um,
Like I got other stuff to be concerned about, not you. Like
makes that totally makes sense on that. So during that story, you were talking about how you were in a cosplay contest. What's it been like entering cosplay contests?
it is actually one of the best things that I could have done in regards to cosplay. Because back when I just used to cosplay just to cosplay, it wasn't as rewarding. Like not in so much like a physical or a monetary sense, because you actually do get rewards if you win at cosplay contests, but it was just like I'm spending all this money to do this thing and I'm having fun, but I just feel like it's not going anywhere. And so when I started doing cosplay contests, I met some of the coolest people I could have ever met, and the people were a lot more mature. And that's an issue when you cosplay just for fun. I feel like you can end up falling into a wrong crowd, falling into the drama. When you do cosplay in a more competitive sense for contests and you work to build something, it's more rewarding emotionally. You get to meet cooler people. It's just a more mature crowd. Yeah,
Oh no,
I don't know.
I wholeheartedly agree. Advice for those may want to enter their first cosplay contest, going with that mindset, like, yeah, I'm gonna win, kind of mindset. Because I know there are those times where people enter and they think, I'm gonna win. What advice would you want
And
to give for first time cosplay contest goers?
there's nothing wrong with being confident. I actually very much encourage be confident. Go into that mindset. I'm going to conquer this thing. But if you end up not winning, take the loss as a win because you can account that towards experience. Well, I see what ended up winning. I didn't win, but this gives me an idea on how I can improve, how I can grow as a cosplayer, what I should do on stage, this sort of thing. So don't be a sore loser because I've seen that unfortunately where people get upset they didn't win and they end up storming off and it's like it's not about that. It's sportsmanship is very much a thing when it comes to the competition community. So, like if you were playing a game like soccer or something and your team didn't win, would you go run off crying or would you congratulate the winner? Like it's sportsmanship, you know?
Oh,
And
yeah,
yeah,
wholeheartedly.
yeah. So, and sorry, I lost my train of thought.
You're fine. So
um,
I mean, in reality, you're not competing against the others. You're competing against yourself, as a friend of mine,
yes.
as a good cosplay friend of mine said.
Yes, and it's just I think it also promotes a level of maturity for you as well. It definitely helps in your character development because it
Which is a
teaches you how
thing,
to
people. Character development is a thing.
so it teaches you how to cope with loss. It teaches you how to develop new techniques, that sort of thing. So with I very much encourage talking to other competitors backstage. They're not your enemies. They're not your rivals. You can have a friendly rivalry with someone if they become your good friend, and then you want to like, I'm gonna beat you. I'm gonna beat you. Like that's one thing if it's your friend, but not those strangers are not your rivals. They're potential friends. So be friendly, help them out. Because one year I was competing and I saw this girl backstage. She was all alone and I could see she would look stressed out and she was messing with something and she had these big gloves on, so it looked like she was having trouble fixing something backstage. And I go up to her and I'm like, are you okay? Do you need any help with anything? I have free hands. Like if you need me to glue something back on, I can help you. And she's like, oh my God, you're a lifesaver. So I helped fix up her cosplay for her. I can tell she's like de-stressed now. She feels better. She ended up going on and winning best in show. And
Nice.
she ended up telling me she's like you really helped me back there because if you hadn't come back and helped me and made sure I was okay, I almost didn't walk on stage.
Well, that was
And
really
then
nice of you to help.
so like the fact that I changed a whole course of events for this one cosplayer, her deciding between there was two paths that could have happened. She could have not walked on stage because she was stressed out, no one helped her, and like nothing would have happened. She wouldn't have, won anything. Or I came up and I helped her and she ended up winning best in show out of the entire convention or out of the entire cosplay group.
Nice.
So it's just crazy how that one little difference and just one little act of kindness can help
Oh,
someone and make their day, you know?
oh, wholeheartedly. So what's your all-time favorite convention experience? Like, it's something that to this day, it's like the best thing ever.
A convention or thing that happened at a convention.
So a good thing that happened at a convention. Something that
Uh,
something like to this day, like I can't believe that happened, and I still remember it to this day because it was like a fun experience.
my Bowser
Hmm.
performance, and then I ended up winning best novice, best in my division, as Bowser because that Bowser cosplay, I really wanted to do that cosplay for me and compete in it just because I made the original design and Bowser is my favorite character of all time. As a little kid, I wanted to be Bowser when I grew up. I loved Bowser that much. And so being able to bring a design I made to life that is inspired by my favorite character. I went on stage. I actually was in a palanquin, which is a carry throne. So I had my friends literally carry me in a throne on stage.
If you
I
have
performed.
if you have a picture or video of that, you gotta send that so I can show it.
Yeah, I can link you to my YouTube. I have those videos and stuff on
Nice.
there.
Dress me up and watch me die. It feels good, tastes good, loves me mine. Dynasty decapitated, you just might see a ghost tonight.
But I was carried on stage. It was amazing hearing the audience just scream in excitement for what they saw because it was just out of control. And then I felt good. I didn't even care if I won or lost. I was just sitting there relaxing. And then they're like, best novice, Octopus Doll Cosplay as Bowser. I'm like, excuse me? So it was amazing because that was the first time I won a major award. So it was, I don't know how to describe it. It was just one of the best things I've ever experienced because I
Nice.
did this thing for fun. I did not care, and I ended up winning best in my division. So
Nice. Now, another favorite question of mine to ask, because you answered a good chunk of it without me having to ask. Future cosplays, characters that you're aside from Poppy, characters that you're working on, or characters you would love to cosplay.
I really want to do some stuff from Monster High since Monster High is back.
I can see some of your Monster High dolls in the background.
Yes, I have over 300 of them. I have a huge collection, but I want to do some Monster High stuff. But I also really want to do Invader Zim because I think that would be fun. I want to do like the actual like full alien.
With the
I
red
want to do
eyes and it.
prosthetic makeup, get like a
Oh.
Voldemort kind of nose so I don't look like I have a nose, do a full bald head because I've never seen any cosplays of Invader Zim like that. I always see it with the wig. So
I've seen like probably one or a few like that are doing the version, but that'd be pretty cool. Like your whole eyes, you would have to like find like
yeah, the
contacts or sclera.
Scalera lenses.
That's
Yeah.
the one. Yeah. Have you worn sclera before?
Yes. I do a lot of I haven't done it recently, but I used to do a lot of special effects makeup and body paint.
Mm.
And then COVID happened and I kind of lost
Wah, wah.
my skills. Yeah. So I kind of lost my skills. Womp womp womp. So I want to get back into that. I want to
That'd
do
be pretty
special
cool. It'd be
effects
pretty
makeup.
cool to see Invader Zim like like with the one you're wanting to do.
Yeah, I want to do like no nose. I want to look like an
Nice.
alien, you
So
know.
so three more ones that you want to do or ones that you're working on.
So I want to cosplay all the girls from Monster Masume. So that's why I've done the snake girl Mia. I'm working on Pappy. I did Miro the mermaid in the past, but I want to redo it because
Wait,
that
Nero
cost
or Miro?
Miro,
Okay.
Mero.
Okay, Miro.
So that's
Okay.
a pretty pink mermaid. I want to redo that one. I want to do all the Monster Masume girls. And then some big cosplays I want to do. There is a figurine called Idol Cthulhu-chan, and it looks kind of like Miku, but the hair is all tentacles and it looks like Cthulhu. So I want to do that, even though it is the most obscure thing. I really
Holy
want to just.
crap, she's expensive.
Oh, I own that figurine too. Yes, that is the one.
I'm like
wanted-
and that's all hair, right?
It's tentacles. I'd
Oh,
make a
what?
tentacle wig.
What if you don't mind me asking, what material would you use for all those tentacles? Because that's gonna be a lot of like just like your Mia snake tail, that's gonna be a lot of work.
So, pantyhose. You can sew them into a point and then stuff them, and then you got a tentacle. You got to do that 8 more times, and you got 8 tentacles.
Kind of like if you were to cosplay as Koro Sensei from Assassination Classroom.
Yeah, I see. I got the idea from someone who did the girls from Star Wars with like the weird tentacle. I
Oh,
don't know what they're called.
what
What are they called? I'm not familiar with Star Wars, but I saw a tutorial on how someone did that with the Star Wars girls that have those tentacles coming out of the tendrils, the two. God,
I can't remember I'm looking at the name.
Someone's probably listening to this and is gonna be like, "It's called this, you dumb girl. It's called this." I'm like, I don't know what they are. I don't watch
Twi'lek.
Star Wars.
Twi'lek.
Yes, yes,
Give me a picture showing here.
yes. So I saw a tutorial on how to make those, and so I'm like, I bet I could do that with like eight more,
I
eight more
mean
tentacles.
that's gonna be like a very just the wig just the hairpiece alone is gonna take you quite a while.
Yeah, when people ask me how do I plan on going about stuff, I just say,
You just wing it.
a hope and a dream, and it's gonna happen.
Oh, there's definitely be a lot of cussing and crying for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. I tell people I don't know what I'm doing, but I end up making it happen, and that's how I go through life.
Nice. One more future cosplay or cosplay you're working on that you would like to do.
Um, God, there's so many. I'm trying to think of like a big one that. God, there's so many. Like, uh, give me a second. I'm trying to think because there was one I was thinking about doing recently, and it's escaped my brain.
Actually, the one I wanted to the one I wanted to ask about, I saw it on your Instagram. It's the one of character cosplay, the character with the giant mushroom head for Echicon. Who was that?
The mushroom.
Oh,
Oh,
the one with the umbrella
uh,
with the tongue sticking
the
out.
umbrella. Yes. So that is from a book called Monster Girl Encyclopedia. And it's literally what the title says it is. It is a encyclopedia of monster girls. And so they take iconic monsters and they make them sexy waifus. And that's all the book is. It's not a story or anything. It's just an encyclopedia of art and hentai, because there is hentai in it.
Yeah, I probably won't be
But
able to show that on here, but if people
yeah,
know,
but you should probably show the picture of the girl, just
oh
not
yeah, the cosplay.
hentai of it. But
Yeah.
the character is a yokai, so a Japanese cryptid, essentially, of a Tsuku Mogami, which is an object that comes to life. So if you look at Tsuku Mogamis, you'll see the iconic ones like the sandals, the lantern, and the umbrella.
Oh,
So the umbrella,
I've seen the umbrella one in the anime Rosary Vampire.
yes, so it's the little umbrella with the freaky eye and the long tongue.
Yep, I have
That's
seen
what
I have that's actually the first time I ever seen that one was in Rosary Vampire, which is another fan service anime.
Yeah, so that's what she is. It's called a Karakasa Obake. If I mispronounce that, I am sorry. But it is my favorite Japanese like mythology cryptid. It is. I just think it is such a cool design. And then they made a sexy version of it. And I'm like, hell yeah, I want to be a sexy version.
So you're gonna have the umbrella thing? How? Or I mean, before I ask one more last question, how are you gonna go about with the umbrella?
So I've actually worn that cosplay before. It's fully made. And
Nice.
so if you give me a second, I think I can fish out the umbrella real quick. I think it's right here in my closet.
Okay, go ahead. I'll pause this real quick. So yeah.
I have returned. So I have got to scoot back.
Oh, so you made it?
Okay.
Oh, so it's an actual umbrella.
It is an actual umbrella.
Oh, that is so
And
cool.
so-
And I see the tongue.
So, oh yes, so the tongue. Here's the tongue. The tongue actually hooks onto the umbrella with just a little rubber
Oh, that
tie.
is cool.
and so it goes
I don't know. I may not be able to
up
show
in here.
I may not be able to show the actual cosplay picture, but seeing like you showing the umbrella, it's
I have
pretty
I have a s- I have a quote unquote censored version of the cosplay.
okay.
I can send you that picture.
Okay.
It's where I have like shorts and like a sports bra on underneath, so it's not like too much skin.
Okay. That
So,
is really. How long did it take you to make that? This would be like. I think this is like probably one of the. This is gonna be probably one of the few longer interviews. Which.
oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. I've been trying to make these last longer because I've realized there's a lot more to talk about.
Oh, I got a lot to say. You
That
can keep
is
me talking all
that
day.
is really cool.
So it
Is
hooks into the back of like when I have the wig on, it hooks into the wig,
oh
and
so
then the tongue is connected to my wrist with fishing line. So
which is
when
a
I
great
move my
which
hand,
is a great technique, by the way.
yeah, so when I move my hand, the tongue moves.
Oh, that is cool. So one last question. Advice in general you want to give to cosplayers and convention goers just in general.
Um,
Or people who are wanting to get into this hobby.
so a few things. So let's say you want to get into the competition version, like competition aspect of cosplay, and you want to start competing, but you have stage fright. I was the worst with stage fright. I was the type of person you asked me to do an oral report in school, and I'd literally break down crying in the corner. And that is not an exaggeration. I literally did that
I've been there
multiple
before.
times for school. So what I've learned going up on that stage and whether it's a walk on or actually performing, stare out above the audience heads. Don't look down into them. So when you stare above their heads, there's typically lights there, and those lights will kind of, I don't want to say like blind you, but they're going to keep you from focusing on the people down staring at you, because that's the main issue with stage fright, I feel like, is people staring at you. So if you don't look at the people, they don't exist. that's
That's uh,
that's
that's
I mean, it sounds dumb, but it really
that's
does
some
work.
pretty good advice, and plus also everyone looks like a silhouette, so you know.
Yes. So it's you just stare out into those lights and don't look at the people and kind of count in your head 30 seconds if you're doing a walk on. So, walk to one spot of the stage, pose, do whatever little gestures you want to do. 1, 2, 3, count to 10, move to another spot, count to 10, move to another spot, count to 10, and then walk off stage. Because often I see people in contests walk on stage, walk off. They're up there for about 5 seconds and they don't even pose, they just walk right off. And it's sad because if I've known people to lose at the chance of winning an award when they clearly had an amazing cosplay because they didn't have the proper stage presence. So that's one thing. And then just for conventions in general, don't let drama or whatever bullshit going on, stupidity, because unfortunately some of these things can feel like high school and people being petty or stupid. Don't let it get to you. Remember that you spent money to be here. You spent money on an expensive badge, most likely. You spent money on a hotel room if you're rooming. You spent money to buy merchandise. You spent money on your cosplay, whether you
Food.
made it or not. Don't let drama ruin it, because it's a waste of money. You're wasting your money that you spent to have a good time, to have fun, and you're letting someone else's stupidity ruin it for you. So that's what I tell people. You spent a lot of money to be here, or own that. Own that you spent money to be here. Don't let someone being stupid ruin that for you.
Hey, that's pretty good. That's pretty good advice. I think that should about do it again. Dolly, thank you for coming on to share your cosplay and convention experience. Looking forward to hearing about how EtchiCon went and everything.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm excited for that for
and
sure. It's gonna be my first year going.
I think that should about do it. Again, everyone, thank you for listening to this episode of Cosplay Context. Get to know that cosplayer. As always, I'm Winnie Unknown. until next time, thank you for listening, and as always, thank you for watching.